What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our top 5 candidates who are primed for a breakout season in 2022. All that and much more coming your way right now. All right, before we get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video as it will help us out tremendously. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, as the 2022 NFL season fastly approaches, we need to get to some players that are primed for breakout seasons, whether it was the offseason moves that got people around them, coaching changes, whatever the case may be. We have 5 players for you guys, the Trash Talkers, to look out for as potential candidates as breakout players. And Nick, I want to start off with one that people are not very high on right now. New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is primed for a breakout season. He has Brian Daboll at the helm. They got an offensive line in front of this guy. They were able to fix up the defense and really get things going for the New York Giants. There are zero excuses for Daniel Jones right now. He understands the system. Daboll is working hand in hand with him to get this offense ready to go. They went out last year and got Kenny Golladay. They're keeping Kadarius Toney for right now, at least. They have all the offensive weapons you could possibly need. I don't see how he can't break out in 2022.
Oh, there's no excuse for him not to break out, but I think he just has to break out at this point because if he doesn't, then he's not coming back next year. It's simply that. They did not pick up his option. He completely understands, why they went that route because Daniel Jones has had plenty of opportunities and he had plenty of weapons last year. Yes, the offensive line and the tight end situation probably were not where he wanted them to be, and Kenny Golladay was on the field just as much as we expected him to be, but he did have some weapons that he could use, like Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Kadarius Toney. These guys were there all season long, and these are playmakers. These are guys who have proven that they can handle a big workload. Daniel Jones seemed to struggle through the last 3 years, so this is definitely going to be a make it or break it year, not only for him as a Giant, but for him in the NFL altogether, because he might just be a career backup from here on out if he does not get it together and break out like he needs to, because this guy was a top 5 pick and he needs to start playing like it. He's got absolutely no excuses anymore, and he's got one of the best offensive-minded quarterback coaches for a head coach now in Brian Daboll. You saw what he did with Josh Allen. If he can't do that with Daniel Jones, I'm just going to say that it's Daniel Jones at that point. But I'm riding with Daniel Jones for now. I have faith in him, and I believe, like you, that he will be a breakout for 2022.
I think Brian Daboll can change him from Daniel Jones to Danny Dimes. I think that's exactly where we expect him to be. I want to stay in New York, New Jersey, as the lawsuit wants to point out, but with another player that I expect to break out this year, another New York quarterback, Nick, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has had so many moves brought to his attention by the front office, by the coaching staff. They went out and got players for him like Garrett Wilson. They fixed up this offensive line by getting Laken Tomlinson in free agency and being able to beef up this offensive line. I fully believe that the New York Jets have done absolutely everything they can to put an offense around Zach Wilson. I know it's only his second year, but I'm putting him in the same boat as Daniel Jones. He has no excuses right now. He has to put up or shut up. This is his second year in the Mike LaFleur system, and I fully expect him to take ownership of it. I want to see this Jets offense absolutely humming on all cylinders. I think Zach Wilson can get it done, but he's definitely got to prove it.
He absolutely does, and I think he has the potential to have the biggest jump from year 1 to year 2 for all these quarterbacks, because you got Bryce Hall behind you now, one of the most dynamic running backs that we've seen come out of the draft in a very long time. He should be a key weapon that Zach Wilson relies on. You got CJ Uzomah, who now has all that playoff experience, knows how to play in these tight situations. I think that's going to be a big weapon at the tight end position for Zach Wilson. Now you add Garrett Wilson to this, and you have a three-headed monster at wide receiver. He's got weapons everywhere, and the offensive line has improved. So I think Zach Wilson is primed to break out and make one of the biggest leaps from year 1 to year 2 that we've seen in a while.
Another player I want to touch on, staying in the AFC East, would be up in Buffalo, Gabriel Davis. Another guy I think is primed for a breakout season in 2022. We started to see it a little bit last year, especially toward the tail end of the season, where he picked up the slack when Stephon Diggs was getting hounded by one in double coverage. I fully believe that Gabriel Davis stepped up and really helped carry the load for this offense. Josh Allen needed an outlet guy, and that was Gabriel Davis in crunch time, in big situations. He trusted this guy. He went up and got the football. I fully expect him to continue on with that maturation process. I fully expect Gabriel Davis to be a big breakout candidate in 2022.
Absolutely. Gabe Davis is someone I've had my eye on for a while. I had a feeling this guy was going to be a big star in the NFL. And towards the end of last season, he started to prove me right. I believe that's going to transition into the 2022 season. Josh Allen's looking to become the MVP, bring the Bills to a Super Bowl. And I think Gabe Davis is going to be a big reason why. He's going to put himself on the map as one of the biggest deep threat weapons in the NFL. And I know that's saying a lot, but Gabe Davis is an under the radar guy who has so much potential, and he's going to show it this year and break out.
Yeah, I fully expect Gabe Davis to be one of those guys that people are like, wait, who's that? Why? Can I pick him up in fantasy? Because he's going to turn heads. I guarantee it. Whether you're a fantasy player, whether you study the game, this guy is going to turn your head. He's going to make you notice him. And I fully expect the Bills offense to run through both Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis this coming season. I want to stick with wide receivers, and I want to talk about another one that started to break out toward the end of last year. Chicago Bears wide receiver Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney was one of the fastest, most athletic wide receivers we saw last year. He came on strong specifically toward the end of the season and really provided a really natural security blanket for Justin Fields and company. I fully expect Darnell Mooney to pick up where he left off. He is going to be the wide receiver one in this offense now that they are without Allen Robinson as he moved on to the Los Angeles Rams. I fully expect Darnell Mooney to become the number one wide receiver that we all saw the capabilities of last year. And I believe that the Chicago Bears are going to run through Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I think when you look at where Justin Fields came from at Ohio State, he had Garrett Wilson, he had Chris Olave. Darnell Mooney is the same physically gifted wide receiver like those guys, and he's proving it. You didn't see Allen Robinson be a big part of this offense last year, and with him fully out of the way, the focus is on Darnell Mooney to fulfill that role. And as we saw last year, him getting more reps just led for him to get more receptions. This guy is a big playmaker, and he's going to have a lot more opportunities to prove that next season. And with the connection him and Justin Fields are starting to put together, I think it's only going to improve going into next year.
We have one more guy that I want to get to, and I'm kind of tired of all the offensive players getting the limelight and everybody just wanting to fawn over the stats. How about the guys that prevent those stats from happening? I want to take a look at a guy who was primed for a breakout season last year, and that only led to an injury. Carolina Panthers cornerback Jaycee Horn. Jaycee Horn was 3 games into the season, and he looked like he might have been the next coming of the CB1, the Jalen Ramseys of the world, the Stephon Gilmores. The next defensive player of the year could have been Jaycee Horn. But it all fell apart when he got injured. He suffered that massive injury last year, and he needs to come back from it. I think he's going to come back fully healthy. Listening to him in his press conferences and speaking with the media, he says he's fully healthy. He feels just like he did last year, if not better. And I believe that he has a better understanding of the NFL game, the speed of which he's going to need to play, and he's coming into this with that knowledge and that experience. I think he's going to be primed for a possible Pro Bowl, maybe even All-Pro type of season.
I mean, Jaycee Horn was the number 1 corner coming out of college for a reason. He was chosen before Caleb Farley and Patrick Surtain because he has what it takes to be a CB1. And as you said, early in the season, before the injury, this guy proved it. He was locking down wide receiver ones in every team he played, and he was making big plays. He had an interception. He had an interception in the preseason as well, and was intercepting Sam Darnold in training camp the entire time. This guy had a lot of talk around him because he was backing it up with his play, and he's going to continue to do that. This injury is something that he's able to come back back from. We've seen plenty of guys come back from it and perform at the same level. I believe Jaycee Horn will be able to do that and then some. To me, he's just getting started, and I think that he has a lot to show, and he's going to prove it this year with a big breakout season.
Absolutely. I think all 5 of these players that we mentioned are primed for breakout seasons, but I want to hear from you guys, the trash talkers. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of our list of breakout candidates, and if we missed any, let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.